So tell me you love me.
Okay, we are back. It is Jukebox Junkies. I'm Dylan here with Chelsey.
Hey guys.
And today is going to be kind of a sad episode because we're going to talk about Demi Lovato just released the first 2 episodes of her new documentary. So we're going to kind of chat about that, talk about it. Chelsea's already in the spirit wearing her Demi shirt. So we're going to dive into that. And then we're going to touch on, we're starting to get into the season where a lot of new music's really going to be coming out that's going to be popular for the summer. So I've put together a short list of, I think, like 10 songs that I think could be like the front runners, and then some artists that might be releasing music that could be really popular this summer. So we're going to kind of talk about that and give our a little too early summer song of the summer predictions to bring the mood up a little bit. So how are you, Chelsey?
Oh, sad processing emotions, almost worried for my girl, but not. I don't know. How are you? How are you feeling?
I was so I didn't even know that documentary was coming out today. I knew it was coming out sometime, but I didn't know it was coming out like right now. So I woke up and I saw it was out. I'm like, well, damn, this is how I could start out my day.
I was finally one up on you. It came out yesterday. And I watched it as soon as I got off work.
I've had, since we graduated college, because if you guys don't know, Chelsey and I just graduated about 2 weeks ago. I've had 1 day off from work. This is so I have just been so crazy. So I don't even know what's going on in the world. But
well, I love Demi. So every day has been, is the documentary out? Is the documentary out?
Right. Yeah. So I knew a lot of what happened just because like I remember reading the story and I remember everything when it happened, but I didn't know what to the extent of how bad it was until I watched that today.
I kind of knew. Okay, I'm not gonna say that I knew, but I could kind of tell from her Instagram posts and everything that she was falling off, and I was really worried about her. And then, just like the rest of the world, I was at work and I get this Twitter notification, and it was, Demi Lovato rushed to the hospital, and it didn't come as a surprise to me. And I feel like it's because of those 6 like super stringent years that she just really had to live by that schedule. Like they touched on it, but I don't feel like they really went into depth about how serious that schedule was for her.
And my guess, do you know how many episodes are going to be in the
4? There's going to be 2 more.
Okay, so 2 more. So we're halfway through right now.
Yeah.
My guess is I'm sure they'll probably get into some of that. And she did do a documentary in 2017 that touched on that a little bit. It's been so long since I've watched it. I don't really remember the details.
Right.
I do know so she was a judge on the X Factor for 2 seasons, I believe. I think it was 2. I think it was season 2 and 3 it was. Like the season she was there, she discovered Fifth Harmony and Camila Cabello and Normani as all part of Fifth Harmony. B. Miller, Carly Rose. No, not Carly Rose. Carly Rose is season 1, right?
No, Carly was the same season.
Was she?
Yeah, her and B did that.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. They were all season 2.
They were all boot camp together.
Okay, yeah. You're right. Who was season 1? Not important.
I feel like there were 3 seasons. I feel like Demi was there all 3. I could be wrong.
The first season was Simon, Paula Abdul, Nicole Scherzinger, and L.A. Reid.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Nicole.
Yeah. And then so season 2 was then Demi, Simon, Britney Spears, and L.A. Reid.
And then the 3 was when they brought in Paulina, right?
Yeah, Paulina Rubio.
Yeah.
And was L.A. still there for season?
I think so.
Okay, and then it ended after that, right? It's been so long.
Yeah, there were only the 3 seasons.
Okay.
For sure.
But I know when she was a judge on the X Factor, she didn't have I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. She didn't have a phone. She was living in a safe house. She was basically like being not being treated as a child, but she was under strict rules. She had to like ask permission, do things, and that was I think that was the very early stages of her really getting sober.
It, it it was. I mean, it was really like the first year and a half, 2 years right then, so it
Right.
was almost the most critical time. But that's almost like when we talk about it now, it's almost like she was under a conservatorship like Britney Spears, and she's completely not.
Right. And not that I'm not saying she maybe needs that, but it sounded like maybe that was really good for her. Cause I mean, 6 years, that is an accomplishment. And I don't have a lot of experience with addiction. Like there's no one in my family that I know of has gone has experienced it. So I don't really know much about it firsthand, just what I've seen. But I know 6 years is hard.
6 years is hard. And I feel like here's the thing with addiction. People relapse. I mean, it happens. People relapse. Life is hard. It is a struggle every single day of your life to stay sober.
Right.
And I don't know. They mentioned it in the documentary. She just had so much pressure and focus on staying sober, on staying healthy, on staying sane, and being this role model that eventually, to her, like she said, it just wasn't worth it anymore. She
Right.
she said it herself. Why am I even sober anymore?
Exactly, because I think, and obviously, like I said, a lot of my experience with addiction is things like this, like different TV shows that touch on it. But you get to a point, and I think this is for a lot of like mental illnesses, not specifically just addiction, but it could be bipolar, it could be a lot different mental illnesses where you need to be on medication or you need to be in therapy or something. You get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. I've got this. I got it under control. I don't need this medicine. I don't need the therapy. I can kind of go back and I can handle it more. I'm more mature now, or what have you. And that's why people relapse so often, so easily, is because they think, oh, I've been sober for 10 years. I'm good. I can have a drink. Bam, and you crash.
Right. And I feel like with the food problems on top of the drug problems, on top of everything else that she's had to deal with throughout her life, I feel like the major moment for me when I was watching the show was her recognizing that when she was over exercising and when she was super stringent on her diet, that was her relapsing into her eating disorder. And I feel like her being able to realize that and like voice that's a very good step forward to her being the healthy, sane, sober person that we would all love for her to be.
Right. Yeah. So let's kind of go through
Yeah.
kind of in as well of a chronological order as we can, kind of, and just kind of recap what she went through and give her thoughts. So she started out on doing beauty pageants, and she was on Barney with Selena Gomez. And she even had a quote. I don't know if you remember this. It's one that really stuck out in my mind. She had a scene. When she was doing that, she said to herself, if I don't win this pageant, or if I don't get this audition, it was one of those, something like that,
Yes, if she
I'm
doesn't
just
win,
never going to eat again. Like and that was when she was in single digits. It was like earlier than 10
yes,
years old. And
eight.
so like, can you imagine being that young and already developing these problems?
I mean, as a girl who did beauty pageants, and I wasn't always the prettiest or anything like that, but I definitely know how detrimental that bit of society can be, and so
Right.
I see where she's coming from. And not to throw anything out there on her mom or anything, but she also mentioned that her mother struggled with disorders around food. And girls more so than guys are super, I'm not going to say that guys don't feel the pressure to look a certain way or dress a certain way or anything, but girls definitely feel it way more. From a very young age, you look at other girls and you're like, why am I not as pretty as them? Why don't I measure up to them? And so, but to say that I'm not going to eat again at 8 years old because I didn't win a beauty pageant, that's so extreme.
Right. And so when someone that young is already having those thoughts and developing those problems, then that girl becoming one of the biggest celebrities in the world at such a young age by the time she's a young teenager. Because I don't know exactly how old she was when she started doing Disney Channel, when she got on Camp Rock and Sunny with a Chance, and she did that other skit for Disney Channel and like commercials and stuff that they touched on. I don't remember what that was called. It was like, it wasn't Saved by the Bell, but it was something like that. But I
I
don't
don't.
know. I don't know exactly how old she was when she started doing that, but it had to be between 14 and 16.
Exactly right in there.
And for anyone, male or female, that is one of the hardest times for your life, period, because that's when your body's developing, you're figuring out who you are, you're starting to have problems with friends, you're doing stuff in like school, like it's just a very hard time for everyone, those young teenage years, and then being put in the spotlight and being curious about drugs and alcohol and sex and all these things that you start thinking about and start being curious about at that young age, and then having money and the exposure to be able to get it, and then all the extra pressure of being a role model, being perfect. Anytime it looks like you might have put on a little bit of weight, or your makeup's a little messed up, or your hair is messed up, they're going to write about you in the tabloids. So like I can't even imagine, like, because I used to have, not like you said, it's different for guys and girls, but I was super, super skinny in high school. And I remember being so afraid of anyone looking at me and thinking I looked skinny. And that was just high school. And I was decently popular in high school. I went to a small school. So that was a very small scale. So then multiply that by 100 million%. I can't even imagine. Like, it does not surprise me why so many young celebrities develop drug addictions and alcohol addictions and depression, and you have a lot of celebrities that commit suicide. Like, it's so not surprising.
It's not. And it's sad that that almost goes hand in hand with being in the industry,
Mhm.
and I don't know, is it because the older people in the industry are like around these younger people in the industry and then they're influencing, or like you said, the teenagers just want to be teenagers, and
Mhm.
then it kind of snowballs.
Right. Because I know I can't remember if this was in Demi's other documentary or just something she's talked about before, but I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if Selena Gomez was there, but I'm pretty sure the first time she did or it's like maybe smoked weed or drank, it was something like that, but it was with I think Joe Jonas and Miley Cyrus. And they were all that class of Disney Channel stars at that time. That was my generation of Disney stars.
Yeah.
Um, and I was going somewhere with that, but I mean, anyway, and they're all like going through very similar things, and Demi um at least has been the most vocal about what she's gone through. I'm not saying the others didn't go through it, but it seems like Demi had it the hardest out of at least most young celebrities for the past 10 years.
And the question is that because of the disposition in her family? Alcoholism is something that they don't like to say runs in the family. They don't like to admit that it can be an inherited property or disease,
Mhm.
but it can be, I believe, personally.
Yeah, I do too.
And so does it come from that? Does it come from, it's just hard to put your finger on it. It is hard to watch and to see, because like you said, we knew these things happen and we knew that they existed, but we've never really talked about them.
Mhm.
And Demi has more than others, but never really to this level.
Right.
I don't feel like. And you brought up Joe Jonas, and that's out of the timeline. We'll get back to it, but
I mean, we can say whatever. So like, so she gets on Disney Channel, and by the time she films like the first Camp Rock, she's the star of Sunny with a Chance. Within like the first like 2 seasons of Sunny with a Chance, because I don't think it lasted too long. It was very popular while it was on, but that is when Demi went into rehab, I believe, is when she was on Sing with a Chance. And it was the show was not, it wasn't canceled, it was kind of rebooted as because it was like a show within a show. So it was rebooted as a So Random show.
Yeah.
She went off and kind of left Disney, and that was when she was at first in rehab, and then a few years later she gets on the X Factor, and then that's like her kind of like comeback into the spotlight was going to the X Factor. I think that was around the same time. She had like Give Your Heart a Break. That was a really big single.
Yeah, Heart Attack, all of that.
Yeah, Neon Lights, Heart Attack. Yeah, and then she seemed to be doing really well, and that was when we started the 6 years of sobriety for her. And she, I mean, in that time, she grew from being seen as this child star to a very popular, mature A-list pop star. And during that time, she had like Cool for the Summer, that was a huge hit. Sorry Not Sorry, huge hit. She had hit after hit after hit. She seemed like she couldn't miss. She was this huge A-list celebrity. And so yeah, then the story kind of dies down for a while. She's doing really well. She's doing her sobriety. Is that how you'd say it? She's being sober. However, words are hard, guys. Okay, lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, so she became, during that time, she's a huge A-list celebrity. She became a huge advocate for mental health and awareness of anything from like sexual assault to addiction to a lot of these really big problems. She became a big political, she's very outspoken on politics that mattered to her, whether you agree with them or not. It's still all very good, all very positive, and she's just trying to be like as good. I don't want to say as a role model because she doesn't like to be called a role model, but just really trying to use her experiences and her influence for good.
Right. I mean, she became an author. She wrote Staying Strong 365, you know.
Right.
I mean, my thing is, the quote that stuck out the most with me throughout the entire thing was 6 years is a long time to be told that if you slip up, you're going to die, you know. And that was just a really strong moment, because as much as I know that the people around her had to have cared about her, and they wanted what was best for her. They wanted to help her continue her career and continue to grow into this great, huge person that we all know and love today. But that's probably not the best way to go about it.
Right.
You know, you can't just tell someone, hey, if you do that again, you're going to die. You know, I mean, that's not going to help convince her in any way to change her lifestyle.
Exactly. And I don't know exactly when, I don't remember when she said her dad passed away. I don't remember how old she was. I don't remember where that falls.
Yeah, she was older though. I feel like she was like 22, 23-ish.
Was she? So she was already famous. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most powerful. Why is my watch freaking out? Oh, it's telling me to get moving. Pass. Sorry. It started just buzzing. I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, that was one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful part of the first two episodes for me, was when she was talking about her dad's death. When she was talking about when they found his body, it was already decomposed, and it'd been there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, over Father's Day. God, it's making me choke up just thinking about it. I was sitting here just sobbing when she was talking about it.
And then how she goes on to speak about how she wasn't as lenient towards him as maybe she should have been, and that I'm sure is a big guilt she carries with her, because I can relate. I can relate to Demi in a lot of ways.
I knew you'd connect with that, at least a little bit. That
yeah,
similar. Yeah.
I mean, my father, it's no secret, he drank a lot, and I loved him. He was a great dad and he did what he could for me, but he drank a lot. And so that has played into a lot of decisions that I make in my life. And I don't know. That's why I was so glad to see Demi like really just, okay, yeah, this is why I'm dealing with this and I really need to focus on it instead of doing these drugs.
Right.
I was really proud to, and the eating disorder thing, because that people I don't think really understand how hard it is when you have an eating disorder. Like it's a struggle. It's an everyday struggle on top of another everyday struggle she's facing, just to not deal with these two demons, and push them to the side. So
Right. And then on top of her talking about her father passing away, they don't know the exact day he died. So every June going into Father's Day, the week and a half, 2 weeks leading up to it, she's thinking, was this the day he died? Was this the day? Was this the day? And that
yeah,
just, man, I'm gonna start crying just talking about it.
that was hard.
Yeah, and it's hard. It'd be heartbreaking to hear that story from anybody, let alone someone who I've looked up to since I was a young kid, and just seeing her be so vulnerable and so honest and so human. It
Right.
is sometimes, I think we talked about this in our last week about Beyonce, how like I'm like, wow, she was actually at the Grammys. She's not even a real person, is she? Obviously, I was joking, but you do like you see these celebrities, people that you've looked up to, you adore, like Beyonce, like Demi Lovato, like Selena Gomez, like Taylor Swift, like any of these huge A-list celebrities. You see them as like superhuman, and so when you see them talking about struggles they go through or real life things about family that you don't it's that's a problem with the whole facade of celebrities. You kind of forget they're people and they have their own struggles and problems and they're not perfect. So and it's really nice to see people like Demi and Justin Bieber and Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift and anyone else like Shawn Mendes, Ariana Grande, who have released these documentaries in the past 2 years, and it really humanizes them. And I think that's just, it's a really positive thing that's come out in the past 2-3 years. These documentaries have gotten really popular.
Yeah. I would love to see Miley Cyrus do one.
Yeah. I was literally thinking that this morning. I watched Demi's documentary and I had to get showered because I went and got lunch with my parents and then I had to run some other errands. I was thinking about how I would love to see one. Oh, because the Jonas Brothers did one. I never watched it though. Maybe I should. I don't know, but I would love to see one from both Selena and Miley specifically. I think
Yeah.
it's great, especially right before I got on camera. Miley Cyrus posted a letter to Hannah Montana 15 years later, and I loved that show when I was a kid. So I'd love to see Miley really open up more about her experiences, and maybe she's just not there yet. Maybe she's not ready, and if she's not, no one should force her into it. If she doesn't want to tell that story, at least she wants to put it in the past. Also
We'll
good.
leave it there.
Exactly. 'Cause she's been decently vocal about her body image struggles and especially her identity crisis, playing a character that had a alter ego identity. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But so going on, let's get into like her actual overdose in 2018. So a lot of things tend to happen on my birthday. July 24th, the day she overdosed, was my birthday.
I forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
So that was a terrible birthday.
yeah, I mean, and I was sitting here trying to remember. I'm like, I know what I did for my 19th birthday. I know what I did for my 21st birthday. I do not remember that day. I don't remember my 20th birthday. I don't remember what I was doing. I know I was living in North Carolina, but I don't remember. And it's just been bothering me all morning. Maybe I was sitting there crying about Demi. I really don't know what I was doing. I'm sure I was probably at home. I don't know.
I was at work at Denny's, and I got a Twitter notification, kind of like the rest of the world, and I didn't really believe it. So I went and looked, and then it was all over major news networks. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so yeah, this is serious.
Yeah, and I remember not being surprised because a few weeks, maybe about a month before the overdose, she released the song "Sober" and basically telling the world, "Do you know that song?"
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
yeah, just making sure 'cause it is a good song. But she basically told the world, "Hey, my 6 years of sobriety is over. Mama, I'm so sorry, but I'm not sober anymore." Um, and then it was like, "Daddy, please forgive me for the
Uh,
tears there on the floor." Is that the lyric?
yeah.
That sounds right. I listened to it this morning. I've been listening to Demi all morning. Um, but so I remember when I heard about her overdose, I was heartbroken, but I wasn't surprised because I remember bawling when Sober came out, just knowing all that hard work was done for the past 6 years.
Yeah, but that doesn't see that that's what she was afraid of. She didn't want to relapse and then people think because like I said, in addiction, people always relapse. There will be people that will be 25 years sober and then all of a sudden just have a really, really bad day and take a drink or smoke
Right.
whatever their addiction is, they will go do that.
Mhm.
And it's a hard thing to deal with. It was hard for me to watch her family talk about it. It was hard for me to watch her talk about it. It was hard for me to kind of watch her processing it. And because just because you fall off or even just because you overdose and almost die does not mean that your 6 years sober are just wasted. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that you can't come back and go 25 years after your huge slip up, and I see that coming from her, and she's California sober. I don't know if you've read those articles or not, but so she's still drinking and she's still smoking and it just marijuana, not like heroin or anything.
Right.
So she's working through and trying to maintain what she can, a level of sobriety that works for her. And they call it some sort of treatment. I read about it yesterday after watching it for the first time, but
Gotcha. But she's doing that, so she is still drinking a little bit, and she does smoke a little
yes.
bit of. She can do weed and stuff. Oh, okay.
That they really call it California sober. I don't know. I guess that's what California sober is.
Gotcha.
Um,
I'll have to do some research. I've never heard of that.
yeah, I hadn't either until yesterday, and I was like, "What did they mean? She's California sober?" So I just, I just want her to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you're California sober. I don't think that you can do heroin and maintain like a normal life like we
No.
see what has happened with that. And as far as her overdose, I wasn't caught by surprise either because they said it in the documentary, but like you said, sober was your first clue that she wasn't sober anymore. But see, I had been watching her Instagram. I had been just noticing slight different changes in her personality and the way she types and the emojis she was using and what her eyes looked like when she was posting. And I just kind of already knew even before sober came out,
Do
you
you
know.
know all the different pictures that they put on screen of like Demi on heroin, Demi like when they were like saying this is Demi high on this drug or this and this drug. Were those posted on Instagram or do you know anything about
I had never seen like the ones where she was French inhaling or anything like that.
right?
But there was one specifically where she had on like a really bright pink kind of shirt, and it was almost I think in those scenes where she was doing with the butterflies and it just popped by real quick. But
Right.
that one was definitely from Instagram, and some of them I kind of remembered from her stories and stuff. They weren't posts, you
Mhm.
know, but you could just tell, you know what I'm saying? If you've ever been around anybody that has done drugs, you can tell when they're on drugs.
Right.
And
I've been pretty fortunate in my life that I genuinely have little to no experience with that. I none of my friends growing up, me, like none of us were even interested in smoking weed. I mean, we all drank decently excessively. Um, I still do, yeah, but not what we're talking about. But I've never been high. Even I had knee surgery, and so one thing that really bothered me, so about a year and a half, I had a major reconstruction of my knee. I couldn't walk for 6 months. It was it was very, very hard. Tore a ligament, they had to reconstruct it. Still can't feel the whole bottom part of my leg. Probably never will. But the doctor prescribed me a huge bottle of Oxy, and I only needed, I think I literally only took 2 or 3 of them the whole time, like a day or two after my surgery when I was in a lot of pain. I think after my first physical therapy, I took one because I was in so much pain, like worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And but I never used any more of those. And I'm fortunate. My dad's also was a doctor my whole life, so I'm very. He would come home and he'd tell stories about like um, these patients are getting these drugs, and they're getting mad at me because they won't give me pain meds. Like he would talk about that kind of thing all the time. So I've always known, don't take more than you need. If you don't think you need medicine, even if it's something as small as ibuprofen, if you don't think you need it, don't take it. Don't put that in your body. So I was smart enough to know not that I didn't need to take all those oxys, but it was one of the giant
Oh yeah, like
bottles full of
the
that, one of the big
yeah,
ones,
like my
completely filled to
granddad
the
would get
top.
for his neck surgery.
Exactly. And so someone who doesn't have that preconceived, or that they people that don't know not to take that might just keep taking them and taking them and taking them until they're hooked on it. I know that was a little bit off topic,
It's
but
not at all, because
that,
you were very fortunate to be educated about what could happen to you. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Not everybody has that.
right,
I mean, and with the internet, you would think that we should, but really, like if you don't have a person in your life telling you, hey, you know, don't do this, it's probably not the best idea, and it's going to lead you down a really crappy road, you know?
exactly. And
Uh,
I know a lot of people. Actually, Macklemore has a song. He's an ex drug addict too. Before he was famous. And he has a song called "Drug Dealer," and the hook in that song is called. It goes, "My drug dealer was a doctor."
right. I
That's
mean,
the hook. And
that's completely true.
so that was one thing that really bothered me. And I mean, a year and a half later, it still has stuck with me that I could have someone like me who has never done any kind of drug, who just, if I didn't have a medical person in my immediate family, might not have known and could have got hooked just like that. And it happens all the time.
Every day. It happens
Yeah.
every day.
And so like these doctors who are prescribing these medicines that like in excessive amounts that aren't needed, they need to be held accountable. And I know this is still off a little bit on a tangent, but
Okay.
it's something that really bothers me.
Have you ever watched Drugs Inc. on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
It's I think there's like 6 episodes. It's a little limited series, and it kind of delves into the different kind of like drug worlds, whatever. But there's an episode that focuses specifically on doctors and Oxycontin, and how they rolled it out in 93, and they produced all these fake like marketing promotional materials, and like they created like fake companies to say that their pills were safe and they were non-addictive and non-habit forming, and here you need to give these to people with all the chronic pain. Just give them out, just give them a sample and see what they say, and they're going to say that it helps their pain and it's going to be fine. And then here we are 20 years later, and because they lied
Mm-hmm.
and legally did so, we have people that's what happened to Demi Lovato. She was using oxycodone, and then she eventually moved on up, whatever. But the main thing that she had that night was an oxycodone that she thought had come from a doctor, but it came from China or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cut with fentanyl, and it literally almost killed her.
Yeah. Yes. And that's a perfect segue. So her former personal assistant, I believe.
Yes, I have so many notes about Jordan.
Okay. because I believe she's the one that found her. Correct?
She was the only person that was thinking sanely in that entire situation.
Yeah. And that the one that called 911.
Yes, I love that girl so much. Like, Jordan, if you ever see this, I love you. You know, my main thing is, do we think that Jordan got fired for calling 911, or do we think that Jordan quit because this was a situation that was just really hard for her to handle and she just couldn't do that anymore?
I have a very hard time believing she would have gotten fired. I know they told her I know she had to like sneak downstairs and call 911. My question was, why didn't anyone want to call 911?
Because of the publicity surrounding Demi. They knew immediately as soon as, because you can't, I mean, we're not dumb. The public's not dumb. We know, you know what I'm saying? We knew before her family knew, which is terrible. I was so hurt when I found out that I knew that Demi Lovato had overdosed before her mother did.
Before her parents, her sisters, her best friends.
You know what I'm saying?
It gives me chills.
I had chills the entire time I was watching these episodes. And
like, how do you think her mother felt getting these texts saying, "I'm so sorry to hear about Demi. We're sending you love. We're praying for you. Sorry about Demi. Sorry about Demi." Can you imagine being like, what happened? Sorry about what? Like,
picking up your phone to go to Twitter to see what Twitter is saying happened to your daughter.
Exactly. That is one of the biggest problems with the industry you and I are both looking to get into, is wanting that hot story, wanting to be on top, wanting to be that person who gets the story out there. And
sometimes the story's not worth it, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and
I want to know who. I know, like, obviously, like you said, the public's not dumb. We're gonna figure it out. Journalists, especially around celebrities like Demi Lovato, they're like hawks. They just flock and they get there because they want that hot story. They want to be the first one. They want to be the first one to publish it. But because the doctors and the paramedics that went to her house, and the doctors and stuff, that they can't say anything because of HIPAA.
Yeah, but the dispatcher could, or the paparazzi that had already been hanging around her house could, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who I feel like probably dispatch is where it came from. That's just to me, it just makes the most logical sense.
Well,
even if it wasn't the dispatcher that was walking her through the call, I feel like, because, you know, that's going to be a big deal. You're sitting there and catch a 911 call from Demi Lovato's house.
Right.
You know, people are gonna.
They didn't on the 911 call. I'm pretty sure they didn't say it was Demi Lovato. They just said the address and they said, "Please no sirens."
Yeah, well, that's what we could hear of the phone call.
Right. Yeah, I guess they didn't play the whole thing. That's fair.
You know, so yes. that was Scooter coming in doing his job.
Right. Well, Scooter Braun. So what was I gonna say? Oh, so Jordan, that was her name, correct?
Yes, Jordan.
Okay. So she finds Demi's unresponsive, on her back, vomit everywhere. I just stabbed myself with a pen. I'm gonna put those down. Finds her on her back, covered in vomit, which, when you're overdosing, when you're throwing up, that's the worst position to be in. That's how Jimi Hendrix died, I believe.
Yes.
Asphyxiating on his vomit from laying on his back. She was blue, unresponsive, naked. So obviously something was obviously very wrong. She said even just the feeling of walking into her room, it was dark, it was cold. There was just it was just in the air, like a darkness was just in the air. So she's calling everyone. She's like, they're all freaking out. She calls 911. The ambulances come, take her to the hospital. Demi has, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, 2 seizures. No, 2 strokes.
3 strokes, a heart attack.
Okay.
brain damage from the strokes, vision loss, and multiple organ failure.
Damn.
And okay, so there was a point when she said, she went and got that red wine, she went to a party, and she was surprised that she didn't overdose that night.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was watching it, I was surprised too, because I don't know, Sarah, her
Syra.
Sarah, yeah, her sober companion.
Yeah, she's a musician too. She's pretty good.
Really, I'll have to check her
She has a
out.
song with Skrillex, Bangarang. You know Bangarang?
Oh shit, that's her.
That's Syra.
Okay, cool. I love Bangarang. All right, right in. So yeah. Dang. So she probably struggled being in that EDM scene with, okay, anyways, that I digress. So she made the comment, Sarah did, that when addicts relapse, they don't return to where they were, they up it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Demi said, I'm surprised I didn't die that first night, I am too, dude. Like you went straight back to hard, like really, really hardcore drugs.
Yeah. And what she said when she was younger, before like when she was on Disney, when she was like a young teenager, she had a mixture of an upper and a downer.
Cocaine and Xanax.
Yes.
I always knew about the cocaine because the cocaine's going to help her not eat, and it helped with her eating disorder and yada yada. But I never knew she was
right. So then when she called her drug dealer that night, she asked if he had coke and Xannies, and he said no, but I have crack cocaine and heroin. Okay, I guess so. She even said, like, I've always wanted to try it.
And what normal person says, yeah, let me try some heroin, buddy, for sure.
Yeah.
Bring it over in that duffel bag. Like,
yeah. So then the night she overdoses, July 24th, or I guess the night of July 23rd.
Well, I guess
early
in the morning.
Yeah, July 23rd, July 24th. That night, this is when this is happening. She is high out of her mind, drunk out of her mind, stoned out of her mind, just totally not sane, just totally, completely fucked up. Sorry for my language.
No, you're not. Because I mean, that's the truth.
And then another one of the hardest, most depressing parts of the whole thing that I did not know was that he raped her.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, and God, that girl has been through so much, and this is just episodes 1 and 2. Like, there's still much more of the story that we don't know yet.
And one of the things that hit hardest for me was another Syra moment. She said that she got really upset with Demi at the game night that she snuck off from, and she found her doing drugs, and she said, so like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not, she had bailed on Demi for, I guess, maybe the birthday party of Danny's or whatever. And she said when she landed wherever she was going, everybody's phone was going off. And I was like, could you imagine, like, just, I couldn't imagine landing from a 3-hour flight, 5-hour flight max, and then looking at my phone or looking at everybody else's phone, and one of my best friends is fighting for their life. Like, that was a hard moment to.
I wonder, because she didn't say one way or the other. I wonder if she got back on the plane and went back to LA.
I mean, personally, I would have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah. If I found out one of my best friends doing that, I'd be there in a heartbeat. There's no question. I would be right there.
And another thing that I always knew was very important to Demi was her relationship with her sister Madison, but I had no idea that was the reason she decided to be sober in the first place.
Right.
And then
go ahead.
You can go.
I was gonna say, in that whole metaphor they talked about, because her mom had told her, if you don't get sober, you can't see her anymore. So then Demi went and got sober. And then when she woke up in 2018 in the hospital and she was blind and her sister was right there and she physically could not see her, ooh, chills. I just get them thinking about it. That is, and then Demi's like, God has a funny sense of humor sometimes. Yeah, because that blew my mind. That is so hard to hear. And like her little sister, how like just that obviously really hurt her. Demi waking up and she didn't know who she was because she couldn't see. Like, I know I just can't. I keep saying, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But seriously, like, damn, that is so much. It's so much trauma.
It is. And I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that this happens every day, every single day to young girls and guys out here that just live an everyday life. Like, and so it helps to kind of have somebody that has a status, that has a platform to really, really help people understand what goes on
Yeah.
in these like backdoor secret societies that the drugs exist in.
Mhm.
And it's not good, and it's not nice for anybody. That's the people that are doing the drugs, the people that are selling the drugs, the loved ones of the people that are doing the drugs and selling the drugs. It affects everybody. And it's nice to see her talk about, like, I really liked how they ended the second episode on a note where she said, look, I was manipulating those people, and that's my fault. It's my fault that they were so completely blindsided by what I had done, because I was manipulating them. I was hiding my life from them.
Yeah.
And so I'm just super proud of her.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Jordan is a hero. I feel
Pay for life.
I feel like she is
Yeah.
the very underrated hero of the story.
And so I don't know if you saw the post I put on Facebook this morning after I watched the documentary. But I basically just was talking about how this documentary is going to do so much for people who are going through these same problems, whether it's a regular everyday person like you and I, or it's someone like Olivia Rodrigo or Billie Eilish or Joshua Bassett or Sabrina Carpenter or JoJo Siwa. These really young teenage celebrities are like they're all like teenagers.
You could even go so far as to say the TikTokers, Addison Rae,
Oh yeah.
the Emilios,
Yeah, Lil Huddy, like all
yeah,
of them.
Playboys.
Yeah. Um, like where was I going with that? Like they could all, when you experience such success and so much fame, and like how we talked about earlier, in these crucial parts of your life when you're developing your personality, what you can and can't handle, like your hormones are crazy because of puberty. When you are going through all of that on that extra scale, it's almost too much to handle for most people. And someone like Billie Eilish, who is an A-list celebrity at this point, um, I'm obviously everyone's different, but it's very, very likely she's having body image problems that she hasn't been able to talk about yet, or eating disorder problems, or she's been very vocal about depression that she's gone through. Um, why why wouldn't she go to drugs to try to cope with that? You know what I mean? And like someone like Olivia Rodrigo, who saw so much fame so quickly just in these past 3 months, who went from just that girl on that Disney Channel or the High School Musical show on Disney Plus that's probably not too good, to this huge celebrity with an 8-week number one and going to be one of the biggest hits of the year. And she's not going to go away anytime soon. Like I guarantee she's going to be a huge star for this next decade. She's 17 and she's starting her career with basically a scandal with this like love triangle with Joshua Bassett and Sabrina Carpenter. So like I'm sure she's having problems with that, because now she's like, okay, now I have to look this way. I have to act this way. I need to do this because people are looking to me now. So I guess my point is, I hope they also watch this and they're able to bolster their teams. They're able to get people on their side. They're able to get themselves, even if they're not having those problems yet, prevent them from ever having those kinds of problems so they don't have to go through what Demi's gone through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do feel like this younger generation of stars has a little bit of an up on because Demi's only a year younger than me. She's 29. So on like my generation, because this younger generation has been raised by parents who are very aware of the consequences of drug use. And I feel like they've probably at least talked to them about that. Eating disorders still aren't as touched on, and body image issues, but we're getting there as a society as a whole. We're getting there. So hopefully, yeah, like you said, they're maybe they have some good backup from home, and then they'll bolster their teams.
Right.
I'll just kind of prevent the snowball from happening.
And I think that it's a lot of that is thanks to Lizzo, who said, fuck what you look like. I'm a big girl and I'm proud of it. And I'm still sexy as hell. Then you have Demi Lovato, who's being as outspoken and honest as she possibly can. Taylor Swift talked about her body image problems and her eating disorder that absolutely no one knew what was going on. She put that in her documentary. Ariana Grande is very open. So a lot of these celebrities have been very, very open about what they've gone through, and it's helping, I think, so much. And I guess time will tell to see what happens to that crop of celebrities that I listed. But I think you are definitely right. I just don't think it's cool anymore to do drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the younger generation, because they're not that much younger than me, but it's that weird, like, I'm almost 23, they're like 17, so it's still like the crop younger than me. And that was it kind of started like with my people that are really my age. They're like, we're not interested. People my age think that's stupid to do drugs, like, and that's like not just like my friends, it's like people I work with who I'm not necessarily friends with, like, we talk about it, or like people I will meet, and people just aren't impressed by drug use anymore. And I think that's because we love our celebrities so much, we look up to them so much, and when they're saying, hey, this is really stupid, don't do this, we're like, okay, yeah, you're right.
And you always bring up the 80s, okay? And I feel like the 80s was drug usage was glamorous.
Mhm.
Okay. It was glamorized. Everybody was doing it. There was so much money floating around because really economically, the 80s was one of the best times in the United States history. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
everything was cheap, everything was accessible, everything was affordable, and it was cool to do drugs, and that tapered on through to the 90s, and I would say even to the late 2000s, but about 2008-ish, 2009, 10, you could really start to feel a shift.
Mhm.
You could feel society being like, yo, look, we really shouldn't be doing this whole like party scene all the time thing.
Right.
And I mean,
People saw what Britney Spears was going through at that time. That was when she was really struggling. I don't know too much of her backstory. Was she into drugs and stuff heavily?
they have never come out and said that she was into drugs. Do I personally believe she was on drugs? Probably, yeah, absolutely.
Because
Um,
I kind of equate Demi and Britney almost like equals for the two generations. They're obviously their stories are different, but I kind of view them as kind of
right.
that celebrity that everyone's like praying for to be okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's really struggled in the public eye more so than, like, when you think of like Britney Spears, you think of Christina Aguilera, you think of the Backstreet Boys, you think of Justin
Timberlake.
Timberlake, yeah. And then when you think of Demi Lovato, you think of Miley Cyrus, think of Selena Gomez, you think of the Jonas
Yeah.
Brothers, think of like Dylan Nicole Sprouse, I could throw in there. So like out of that group, it's Demi and Britney who have really struggled more in the public eye than anyone else. So I see them as kind of equals for the two generations.
Yeah. And I feel the same way about Britney and Demi. I do, because leave Britney alone and leave Demi alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I'll be honest, the publicity surrounding everything. Like, when I saw the ad for the documentary, And I saw a friend like, so are we talking about heroin? Are we doing that? And I was like, what? You're
Heroin.
just gonna put that in the ad? You're not like,
And what's so cool, Demi's team, I'm the people that are advising her and are letting her talk about this. It's so good. So like you and I obviously both just graduated from music business school. And one thing you really learn about is protect your artist's image, protect the brand, build the brand, keep the brand, don't mess with the brand unless it's going to be a net positive. And so the people that are advising Demi to say everything that happened, and they're almost not worried about her brand and her image.
because this is her brand now.
Right. And they're doing a shift and they're not afraid of what the negative effects, like what people in the media could say. Because you're no matter how good of a thing Demi's doing right now, you're always gonna have that one journalist that's gonna be like, can you believe Demi Lovato did this? And they're gonna paint it. You have people that are gonna paint it in a bad light, regardless whether she's out helping, she's giving food to the kids in Africa, or she's providing kids heroin. Like no matter what it is, for two different sides of the scale, there are journalists that are going to flip it and make it look bad. So I guess my point is just like Scooter Braun, which, you know, I don't give compliments to Scooter Braun very often. And then the other people on her team that are advising her and letting her do basically what she wants, say what she wants, and letting her put her story out there. Thank you. Kudos. Like this is a historic music history documentary, I think, more so than all the other documentaries that have come out recently.
I agree. So do we want to move on into talking about songs of the summers?
Yes, let's have a little bit of fun, that we like how we normally have fun. Let's have a little bit of fun. Okay, so I did put together a short list. I should have printed it out. Okay, so it has 16 songs on it. Obviously, not all of them are going to be hits. Some of them might even fizzle out before the summer. But they're like the songs that are like on the rise right now that I really feel like could catch on.
Okay, well, I have 8 songs.
Okay, perfect. And chances are a few of them could probably.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. Go ahead, say one of yours first. We can just go back and forth and talk.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I would really like to see The Business by Tiesto just kind of roll on through the summer.
Okay, so you know it's funny. I almost put it. I not that one specifically. But there's another song, Travis Scott and Hume, the Goosebumps remix.
Yes.
So I put those 2 songs, and then Roses by St. John and Imanbek, and Ride It by Regard and Jay Sean. I kind of put them all in a group together of these pop dance hits that have I can't think of words. I'm all about Demi. What's the word when you change the vocal pitch?
No.
What?
Going up and up, down an octave.
I can't think of the word.
Arpeggios.
I promise we are really good music business students, guys.
But we didn't learn music theory.
I guess not too much of it. Either way, but the vocals are different. They're like shifted, pitch shifted up, pitch shifted down.
There you go.
So like they all 4 kind of remind me. They're like I group all 4 of them together, and obviously I don't like Roses or Ride It, but I love The Business. I haven't listened to it too much, and I think Goosebumps is also. I loved that song before it got this big remix.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm sad they took Kendrick Lamar off the remix, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, The Business by Tiesto. It's a good song, and it's definitely one that's on the rise right now. I don't know if it'll be the song of the summer, but I think it'll be one of those hits that's pretty stable throughout the whole time. So yeah, good pick.
All right.
I just put mine in like an alphabetical order. There's no real rhyme or reason to order in them. Well, I typed it out on Excel, and so then it was just because I like to be organized, you know. So my first one is Ariana Grande, POV.
Yeah.
She just released that as a single. I think it impacts radio like next week. So she's just gonna start pushing that right now. So you can never count Ariana Grande out.
For sure. But I was thinking Positions probably has enough move behind it to just roll on through too. You never know.
Well, Ariana, when she releases singles, normally it's like one after another really quickly. She doesn't really let them breathe all the time, especially during the Sweetener and Thank You Next era. And she did that she released Positions and like 34, 35, like together basically. And they both hit number one on pop radio. But now 34, 35, Positions was just moved to recurrent, which means it's like older. And then 34, 35 is starting to fall a little bit. And so now I think POV is gonna shoot up. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay. You have more songs than me, so you go again.
Okay. Next one, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, Leave the Door Open.
Yeah, I didn't put that one on mine because I knew you were going to.
And the thing with that song, I think that they have a whole album coming out. So if that one, because it's a great song, I love it. I'm not sure if it has like that summery vibe to it that you really expect from the summer song. So if it's not that one, I think it could be another one of the Silk Sonic songs, because they're both into Silk Sonic. So they're my next one.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get mine out there before you get it out there. We're Good by Dua Lipa.
I actually didn't put that one on my list. So
but mine is the remix with Dylan Francis, because I really like We're Good. The original reminds me of Harley's in Hawaii by Katy Perry so much, but I know you don't like Katy Perry, so
too much.
but it reminds me so much just of that song for whatever reason, sonically, lyrically a little bit, even Dua's voice even sounds a little bit like Katie's in that to me. So, but when Dylan Francis comes in and he tweaks it just a little bit, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a bop.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like, you can never count out Dua Lipa. And so, and she's releasing so much music lately. By the time we get to like June, even so, like 2 months from now, that song could really maybe be on the out. And knowing Dua, she could shoot another one out. And maybe, because we talked about We're Good last week, I don't think it's the strongest song from her. But obviously she has it in her, like Levitating. Such a great song.
Yeah.
If she has another one of those in her for the summer, it's over.
All right. Who's next on your list?
All right. My next one is Cardi B, Up. I mean,
hey, me too. I have heard on one.
Like, it's number one on Billboard right now. And I could see that song. It came on in the club the other night. I was out Saturday night. And man,
they doing the dance? I don't know it exactly. I kind of do, but not really.
Oh, yeah, that kind of thing. There are people doing that. I don't remember.
Oh, they should have. It's perfect.
I was out. One of my friends, she just had a baby a month ago. And she came out the first time I've seen her I believe first time, like maybe she's even been away from the baby. But she was getting down and she was dancing. I was just in awe because I'm like, there's no way, because she was pregnant. Like, she was love you, Hannah. But yeah, so that was when it solidified, like, this song is going to be huge, and it has that summery vibe. So
as long as people don't get tired of it beforehand, because I don't listen to the radio, but I'm sure radio is probably pushing it pretty hard.
Radio has been pretty slow on it. Like, it's actually not even in the top 20 on radio yet.
Huh.
So even though it's number one on Billboard, radio has been pretty slow. So I think that might be a good sign that it might not fizzle out as quickly. Like, it has streaming right now, and that's it.
It has all the workings of a perfect little song for the summer.
Exactly. You want to do another one of yours? Want me to do another one of mine?
You can do one more.
All right. I'll do these next two together.
Okay.
You can never count out Drake. So I have both What's Next by Drake and Wants and Needs by Drake and Lil Baby. I don't really like either of the songs, but Drake he's like the king of the summer. One Dance was a song of the summer, and so was God's Plan. So you can never count out. Oh wait, no, it was In My Feelings. Either way, he's huge for the summer, so you can never count him out. So I put both of those on there. And What's Next debuted at #1 last week, so you never know.
Yeah, but out of the two, I like the other one better. I
What's
don't like
Needs?
What's Next. Yeah, What's Next.
What's Next? It's like he's just. I don't know. There's something off about it. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. There's something off with his vocals. It's not connecting like God's Plan or Nice for What do for me.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I guess I'll go ahead and throw this one out there before you throw it out there too. Peaches with Justin Bieber.
Okay, yeah, that is one that is on my list. That is my #1 pick for the summer. I hope that is the song of the summer.
It's not my #1 pick, but I would say it's my #2.
Yeah,
I love that song.
It is the best song on his new album. We can just say I've been very vocal about how I do not like Justin Bieber very much, but the past few months he's released a lot of songs that I really like. I liked Holy. I know you didn't, but I loved Holy. I loved Lonely. I liked Anyone. I liked Hold On that he released last week, and then so I went and listened to the whole album, and I was blown away. Not sure how I feel about the Martin Luther King stuff in it. Seemed a little odd to me. I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Me either. I was like, why, Justin?
Because one, he's Canadian.
Right.
2, he's white. And 3, the song's not about any kind of racial injustice or any injustice at all. They're basically all like love songs, and you're more, I don't want to say generic pop songs, but they're all pop songs.
They are all pop songs.
The Martin Luther King interlude and the intro didn't do it for me. It just seemed a little slimy to me. I don't know.
Seemed like he was trying to pick up fans.
Yeah. Just the whole thing did not click. But the rest of the album, the songs by themselves, I think this is his best album. I'd have to go back and listen to Purpose, but I think this is his best album he's released to date. And Peaches with Giveon and Daniel Caesar, which I have another Giveon song on my list that we can talk about in a second. So good. So good. So good. It's so good.
It really is. I mean, it's just a cute song. Like,
#1 on Spotify right now. So
I love Georgia, so I like the fact that you get your peaches from Georgia. So.
And like, it's so weird hearing Justin Bieber say "badass bitch." Like, I don't know. I liked it, and it totally worked and clicked, and it was believable. It was corny enough to be a summer song. So I feel like that's kind of one of the qualities. Like, I always think of California Girls as like the summer song, and that is so corny. And
it is.
And I think corniness is very important in a summer song, and Peaches has that level of corniness.
For sure.
All right, so that actually goes perfectly with my next one. So Giveon is featured in Peaches. He also has another single that's rising right now called Heartbreak Anniversary that I love, and I really would love to see that be a single, or not a single, a hit.
I don't know if I've heard it.
It's very new. I highly recommend it.
It might have been on one of my Apple playlists, but if I'm just like passively listening, I don't glance at artists.
Right. Yep. So highly recommend it. It's a great song. But yeah, not too much else to say about it. I do have the next one is Heat Waves by Glass Animals. I don't know if you know that song. It's more of like an indie rock pop kind of song. Glass Animals have been around for a long time, and they're just
I recognize Glass Animals.
Mm-hmm. So it's a great song. I've been hearing it on the radio more and more lately, and it just has that summer feel and that summer sound. And it's a song I could see having a really slow build and slow rise. Hello.
I'm sorry. It's my boss. I call him back. What you want?
That's funny.
So I guess I have like 4 more songs. Best Friend, Sweetie, and Doja Cat.
I love that song. The first time I heard it, I'm like, this is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. And then the more I heard it, I'm like, yeah.
Right. They're my
Real,
best
real
friend.
bad bitch.
She a real bad.
Yeah.
Drive her own car.
So totally endorse it, love it, here for it. I also put on this list another brand new song that I just heard for the first time Friday. It's a great song. So I'm sure you don't know it yet. You know the song Mood by 24K Golden and Iann Dior. Iann Dior has a new song out with Illenium.
First time, yes, that's my
you
number
know that
one
song?
pick. That is my
shit.
number one pick.
Oh shit, okay. I was like, you're not gonna know this one, but it's really good. For face. Okay. It's a great song. Oh, my watch said I'm doing good now that I got excited. It said back on track. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Iann Dior. Okay, I should have thought of that you are into the dance music, so you're gonna know the new Millennium song. Duh.
Oh, in a perfect world, that would be my song of the summer. Like it's gonna be my song of the summer.
I
regardless.
love Iann Dior. I think he has such a great voice. You know, he does more of Mood than 24K Golden does.
Yeah.
But 24K Golden, he was the first artist listed, so he gets all the credit. Iann Dior, I really want him to be one of the next big artists moving forward. I would love to see him have legit success because every song I've heard him on, I think I've heard 4 or 5 songs by him, something like that. So he had like the Clean Bandit one. He had a solo one. He was on Mood, so maybe 4. I don't know. I love
4 or
him.
5. Yeah, I love his voice. I love that song. It almost feels like kind of pop punky to me, but it's still dance very much, and it's great. I have been listening to it on repeat.
Yeah, and I think it's getting a push. I think it's going to get a pop radio push and a rock radio push, and that obviously dance too. So it's going to hit like a bunch of what's the word I'm looking for? A bunch of
different users or demographics.
Yeah, a bunch of whatever. A lot of people.
Listeners.
I promise I was a salutatorian of my major, guys. I know.
Yeah, it's just been a really emotional couple of days. Okay,
Exactly.
like if y'all haven't read that letter from Miley to Hannah Montana, just please go read it. On top of watching Demi's documentary, it's been rough.
I just got that all out of my head. Now you're bringing back all the thoughts.
But there is good news. Taylor and Maren Morris, like that was good to see in the middle of all of this.
Oh, that will be coming tomorrow. So I am very excited. That's weird. She's releasing it on a Thursday. Taylor always releases her music on Friday. I just thought of that. Anyway, so that's not technically one of my picks, but I have like Demi Lovato, Taylor Swift, Adele, Rihanna, and Kendrick Lamar. Obviously Demi. Oh, I keep moving your screen off of here on accident. Taylor and Demi are releasing new music. So I know, like, I'm sure they'll both be hits. I don't know about Taylor's because it's like the vault songs from a re-recorded Fearless album. So I'm not sure how they're gonna market that. I'm not sure what the plan is there, if it's gonna be pushed as like a single or if it's just gonna be like, here's this extra song that I have. So I don't know exactly what the plan is for that. But rumor has it, actually I don't think it's a rumor anymore, that Demi Lovato and Ariana Grande have a song together.
Demi Lovato and Noah Cyrus.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
There was one more that I read about last night. There's 3 really big collabs that were coming on her album. But yes.
Yeah, I didn't know about the Noah Cyrus one. That's interesting to me because the Cyruses and Miley, I'm sure they're friends, but
Miley is why Demi and Selena don't hang out anymore, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about that whole story. But okay, I was like, what?
No, look, I got an Amazon package and he's like, is it your skateboard bearings? And I'm like, I don't know, probably.
Okay, so my next one, I also had Hold On by Justin Bieber on this list because I don't think Peaches was really intended to be a single, but I think it immediately started doing so well that they're going to push that one instead of Hold On, but Hold On is also really good. So I put that on here too, just because they could both be really popular this summer.
Right.
It'll be fine. Also, Telepatia Caliucci's is doing really well. I had that
Yeah.
on my list. So
I have your Save Your Tears on my list just because
yeah.
it still just has so much momentum around it. My
Mhm.
work best friend comes in every day and he's singing it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, Broseph, I've done told you, please don't sing that song.
Right. Well, I mean, The Weeknd is known for, I mean, Blinding Lights is still in the top 10 a
Yeah.
year and a half later. So The Weeknd definitely has that staying power, and people don't really get tired of his songs. So Save Your Tears, if it's not, I would imagine it'll still be in the top 10 and still for the foreseeable future for at least the next 4 or 5 months. That'd be my assumption. Although at this point, Blinding Lights still might outlive it. Who knows?
Yeah, right. The last one on my list is New Love with Ellie Goulding and Diplo and Mark Ronson.
Oh, okay. I do know that song. This
I've got
the
no
Silk
love.
City, right? That's
Yeah,
the
Silk
yeah.
City. Yeah, I didn't know if they were still going by Silk City or not. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I think they are. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
when I looked it up
I
on
almost
Apple, it said featured Diplo and so
if they're smart and they really want to push that as a big single, they should just go by Diplo and Mark Ronson and Ellie Goulding, because now that we have Silk Sonic
now,
and Silk
right.
City, I will get confused.
Mhm.
Let alone people who are more average listeners. They'll have no idea what's going on.
Right.
But that is a good
Right.
song. I've listened to that. I do like it. I'm not a biggest Ellie fan, but when she has a good song, I let her have that good song too.
Oh, dude, I love Ellie Goulding so much. I've loved her almost as long as I've loved Florence Welch.
Mhm.
So, long time. 2011, 2010, before lights ever even got big or anything. Starry eyed.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I have a few more on mine. So I have a little TJ in Black, Calling My Phone. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it debuted at number 3 a few weeks ago. And it seems to be really rising in a lot of like this. It has good streaming. It's actually rising on pop radio and rap radio. So it seems to have a lot of momentum behind it. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be the biggest hit, but it could be one of the bigger hip hop hits of the summer. So I had to throw it on there.
And I know I kind of avoided hip hop, but to me, pop songs are songs.
Hmm.
It's not to say that there aren't huge hip hop hits that still kind of rock summer every now and then, but for the most part, it's a pop song.
Hmm. Well, last summer, a Billboard named because they do like the song of the summer chart, and it was Rockstar, the Baby and Riley.
Yeah, well, I figured.
But that was also just as big of a pop hit as it was a rap hit, so doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But let's see. So I don't know if you know this song, a Lil Huddy. He is the guy, I guess he's dating or has dated Charlie D'Amelio. So he's like a TikTok star. He has a song out called The Eulogy of You and Me. I've heard it on the radio a couple times. It's a punk rock song, but been hearing it on pop radio. I like it a lot. I've just now, like I've heard it maybe 2 or 3 times on the radio and it really worked for me. Really like it. I'd love to see it grow and get bigger.
Is that the dude that does Charlie all wrong all the time though?
I don't know. I don't know anything about any of them. I just know their names.
I drank her drink at Dunkin' Donuts had for like a year. I don't know much about her, but I do read TikTok stories. I mean, Snapchat TikTok stories occasionally to keep me up to date because I can't be old.
Right. I mean, I didn't know who Dixie D'Amelio was until she released that song "Be Happy."
Happy.
Yeah. And so I just thought she was just another random artist that Sirius XM hits one. That's one of the radio stations I listen to a lot. It's my favorite radio station. They pick up a lot of these more underground artists. So I was like, oh, maybe I thought she was just one of them. And then I heard them talking about how she's this big TikTok star. And then I started learning about her and I learned about Charlie. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm very removed from those celebrities. I don't know too much about them.
You TikTok though. See, I don't even TikTok.
Yeah.
I live on Instagram.
I mean, my TikTok's algorithm I've never seen an Addison Rae video, any of the
Really?
D'Amelios. I've
Oh,
never
she's so
seen.
hot.
Mine is all mine is all like gay men and Taylor Swift. That's all mine is. Period.
Well, I see Addison and the D'Amelios and all the houses and then skateboarding.
Gotcha.
And this one random soccer guy I follow from like the UK or something.
Yeah, TikTok's algorithm is crazy. But that little Huddy song, I like it a lot. And if it does do well, even if it does decently well, it could like trigger a comeback of punk rock, which I think would be really cool in the mainstream that we haven't had for about 15 years, really.
Right.
So I'd be down for it. It'd be cool. A newer sound.
I would love to hear Demi Lovato bring back her little punk rock.
Right?
Like,
I was listening to her song Get Back today.
yes, I want to get back.
Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
was listening to all of her old music. It was a
yes.
morning. It was. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, 3 more. Beautiful Mistakes by Maroon 5, Megan Thee Stallion, because you can never count out either of them. It's actually a good song. I don't like Maroon 5, and I like this song. Megan kind of saves it. Adam Levine doesn't sound like a member of Alvin and the Chipmunks, so it's good. Then 2 songs we talked about last week: Astronaut in the Ocean by Masked Wolf.
Yes.
I think if of all of these, that's one of the most likely songs to be song of the summer. And then I have Good Days by SZA, which we also talked about a little bit last week, which
Yeah.
is more of a chill, laid back R&B song that actually does have a summery vibe to me. So I'd be here for it.
Yeah. I would be here for all of these songs. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Exactly. And then obviously there's so much rumors about Adele releasing music. If she releases something, it'll be huge immediately, even if it has a summery sound or not.
Do we think it's really going to happen though?
I don't know. I thought, because she hosted SNL a few months ago, and I thought that was going to be like her really starting to come back into the spotlight. So I thought we'd have new music by now, and we don't. I don't know what's going on. I hope
But how
so.
many years has it really been since
I was still in high school when
25?
Hello came out. Yeah, it was 2015. I think I
Wow.
was a senior in high school.
So 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hello came out like October 5th of 2015.
I mean, that sounds about right. And I knew when I had this feeling when she was like, I'm not gonna do the age thing on my albums anymore. My next album will be like kind of self-titled and it'll be in a different direction. And I'm like, oh well, that's gonna take a while. You know, if you're gonna rebrand yourself and you're gonna kind of work away from this and move a different direction, but then as the years went on, you know, 1, 2, 3 years I could see to kind of rebrand a little bit, figure out what you wanted your new sound to be like, and then put it out there for the world. But 6 years?
Yeah.
I
This is
mean,
a longer break than she took between 21 and 25.
right. And I don't know. I'd much rather see new Florence and the Machine music than Adele music any day. And that's just my
I would
personal.
love to have new Florence and the Machine music. I still really need to deep dive more into them because you talk about them and you just rave about them. I know about them, I've listened to them, but I haven't like immersed myself into it, and I need to.
Florence is another character, just since we did spend so much time talking about Demi Lovato and other celebrities that are talking about their problems and struggles with drugs and things. Florence Welch has been very open about her addiction struggles. And, you know, she even struggles with body issues, you know. So I don't know. She's a good role model too. And I feel like a lot of people across the pond really have a great one over there.
Yeah. And then same as Adele, I have Rihanna and Kendrick Lamar. One of these days, we're gonna get new music from them.
I don't think Rihanna is ever going to create music again.
No.
If she does, it will be in a featured capacity. She'll be on a song here, she'll be on a song there, she'll be another one like DJ Khaled, but it's not gonna be.
Yeah. So you think she's gonna move more into the legacy artist kind of thing?
I do. I feel like she already has.
Yeah. Makes me sad.
Me too. But I can remember when probably the very first time I ever saw the Palm Day Replay video, and I was like, oh my God, who is this person? She's beautiful and she's dancing and cute and smiling, and I love the song. And I don't know. But I don't feel like we'll ever see another full-length album from her ever.
Watch. Now that we're saying that, it's gonna be surprise released on Friday. Watch.
I mean, now that I'm saying it here to you, yes, but I've said that for years. I really don't think
we're gonna have to do the same thing we did. We were talking when we did our review for Folklore and Future Nostalgia. We're like, we want another Taylor Swift album like this, and we want a collaboration with Bon Iver. Boom! Before the podcast was even out in like 2 days, she announced it, and I had to like type, "Hey, so this was recorded before all of that." So just ignore that part. You can thank us for it.
Right.
So let's just say, Rihanna, we need music. If you release it on Friday, you're welcome, world. It was Chelsey and I.
And I don't know much about Kendrick Lamar. He's such a different style of hip hop to me. Because it's very like lyrical and poetic, and it's very different. It's a lot like what D Smoke makes. You know, D Smoke music sounds very similar to Kendrick Lamar. I don't know. It's not that I don't get it, because I guess I get it, but it's not really my vibe.
Gotcha.
Because I grew up with Southern rappers, you know what I'm saying? Like Lil Boosie and T.I. and kind of like hardcore rap hip hop. So the easier stuff is kind of different to me.
Gotcha. I love Kendrick Lamar, and some of his albums are just that. They're just some of the best works of art of all time, and I need him to feed. Like Damn, his album Damn came out when I was in broadcasting school, and I remember because I drove 2 hours to school and back every day, so I drove 4 hours a day for a year, and I listened to that album on repeat for like a week or more, and it did so much. It was like I'd either be listening to Damn or I'd be listening to Reputation, because they came out around the same time, and man. So I just love Kendrick Lamar. His song DNA, next level incredibleness, amazing.
I mean, now, you know, like who doesn't like DNA?
Yeah, exactly.
And like who doesn't? So that's what I'm saying. It's just different to me because I'm used to Lil Boosie, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So that's all that is.
Well, so I guess that kind of wraps up our show for the day.
It does.
I'm happy we were able to add a little bit of fun there at the end. And who knows, with everyone talking about Demi right now, and everyone, I think people who aren't even as big of fans of hers like as we are, learning about her struggles and seeing how open she is, I think she's going to gain a lot of fans and a lot of respect from all people, from even people totally outside of her demographic who don't listen to pop music in general. And I could really see her next album, if she does it right, being her biggest album. I think she could have maybe even her biggest hit single from it, depending on the direction she goes. If it's I Love Me or like I'm Ready, it's not gonna work. But if it's like Sorry Not Sorry, Cool for the Summer, not saying she needs to recreate those songs at all. That's not what I'm saying, but something with those kinds of energies and levels, but also relating to her story and bringing it full circle. If it's done right, this could be the year of Demi Lovato.
It really could, and I'm super excited. This album, I don't know if it's the deluxe version I have saved on my Apple Music or if it's just the regular album, but it's got 19 tracks. Like, that's insane, and it's fixing to be, I feel like it's gonna give Folklore a run for its money.
It very,
you know,
yeah. And Demi's never had a huge blockbuster album like Folklore or what was the other one? Or like Future Nostalgia. Like she's never had all of her albums. They've done well. She has a couple #1 albums, but she hasn't had that huge. Like I guess Confident would be that was the name of the album, right? Confident.
The one that Confident was on, that was this one, right? Neon.
No, the Neon Lights is before. I think it was called Confident.
Confident was the next one.
I think so. I think it went.
That the one with the Iggy Azalea song on it.
Yeah, Kingdom. Yeah. That was probably her biggest album so far, and I think this one could blow it out of the water. But we shall see.
We'll see. I think we're all gonna have really high expectations for it now, and I don't want to be let down.
Right. And I wonder if she's gonna include Sober in anyone on it.
Anyone is already like the leading track, I believe.
Is it? It doesn't say if she wants it to be like a story album, which I could really see it being. I don't know if that's the plan or not. It'd be almost really poetic to start the album with Sober and end it with Anyone and like have like these songs in between. I think that'd be really powerful. I don't know if that's the plan or not, because the track listing's not out, right?
No. Well, it was just showing Anyone and What Other People Say. So that's 1 and 10. But now it's showing at track number 2 is Dancing with the Devil.
Okay. And that's with Sam Fisher, correct?
What Other People Say? Yes.
Okay. Then I know that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know about what people say.
Well, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us on this really super sad episode of Jukebox Junkies.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on what you think the song of the summer could be. If it's going to be one of the ones we talked about, if you think it's going to be something else, if it's not going to be Peaches, tell us why. And yeah, send Demi your love. Let us know your thoughts. Yeah, and try to learn something from it. Whether everyone has their own struggles, whether it's addiction, whether it's body image, or if it's something else totally. It could be depression. It could be any mental health struggle at all. Everyone has something, either super small, super big. Everyone has something. So watch this and try to learn from it, and apply something to your life, and try to learn something about yourself, and learn something that you could watch out for in your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you work with. Try to see signs of these and just know how to help them and talk to them. And yeah,
for sure. And if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. There are so many resources for mental health awareness, for people with all kinds of eating disorders that you may be struggling with, or even addiction.
Absolutely. So, and I will put links to all the places.
All the places.
Yeah, all the places. Yeah. So on that note, we are out. This is the lowest energy we've gone out on.
Ever. We're sorry about that, you guys. And it's not that we're not just sad. It's just that we've all spent a day learning and processing.
Right. And it's an important topic to talk about and to process and to learn from and experience. So, and we'll probably talk about this more when we get 3 and 4 and give our final thoughts and everything.
For sure.
See how the rest of her story unwraps. So.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Peace.